Hello everyone, it's Theme Park Avenue, I'm Eric, and today I'm ranking every roller coaster at Six Flags Darien Lake. Before we begin this ranking, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you know new theme park content comes out. We have rankings, reviews, and tons of content both serious and funny. Now, one thing that must be laid out, first of all, this is my opinion. It's entirely based on what I like in a roller coaster, and I will explain why each ride ranks where it does. With that out of the way, let's jump right in. There are 8 roller coasters, and number 8 is Mind Eraser. This Vekoma SLC is among my least favorite. I like that it's in front of a lake, and its colors, while somewhat faded, look nice, but on the ride I find little to enjoy. The turn after the what I'm going to call pretzel loop is kind of fun, but it's really just not an enjoyable coaster, mainly due to roughness. The restraints are not good either, and you'll bang your head a lot. It's a painful ride, and by the end I was just happy it was over. Number 7 is Hoot N Holler. This is the kiddie coaster. Not a whole lot else to say about it. It's fun, I'm sure, because I didn't ride it, I'm not able to ride it. And it has a nice little setting, but not much else to it. Number 6 is Boomerang. This is a Vekoma Boomerang, and it's not the worst of them, but it's also far from the best. It has headbanging on some of the inversions, especially the Cobra Roll. The vertical loop is somewhat intense and fun, but I don't love Vekoma Boomerangs as a whole. Sometimes they can be genuinely great rides, but for the most part, like this one, they're not. Number 5 is Viper. This aero looper is a bizarre one, with a somewhat massive looking first drop, and I was surprised at how smooth the corkscrews were. The biggest issue was the Sidewinder. This final element, 2 inversions, was quite painful and was the one thing that kind of brought down the ride. Overall, this is probably one of the better aero loopers, and I would say it's a decent attraction overall. Some may hate it, but I don't think it's bad. It's definitely worth the ride if you go to the park. Number 4 is Motocoaster. This is a very odd family launch coaster. I like it, and it's a fun concept, but the way they do the seating is not the most comfortable, and the turn right after the launch is a bit too whiplashy, but not all that fun. After that, it's a fine family coaster, and it has some nice forces, and the seating arrangement in itself is not painful, it's just the way they do the restraint. It's overall a pretty fun ride, and definitely one that I think is kind of a must if you go to Darien Lake. Number 3 is Predator. The jump from 4 to 3 is astronomical, because Predator is a great ride. I hear some say the ride is very rough, and while they aren't technically incorrect, I don't find it painful. Rough, maybe. There is a lot of rattling the whole way through with the exception of the Titan Track portion, but I didn't think any part hurt. The ride goes pretty quickly, it holds its speed pretty much the whole way through the ride, there are some strong airtime moments, and the Titan Track part smooths out what would have otherwise probably been the least enjoyable part of the ride. The only minor nitpick I have is the fact that going from the rough wooden track to the smooth Titan Track is insanely jarring, and kind of took me out of the experience of the fact that I was on a roller coaster, because I was just thinking about the rattle. That said, I love this ride, and it's a great wooden coaster that I'm happy is being preserved overall. Number 2 is Tantrum. This Gerstlauer Eurofighter is a tough one to rank because I love everything about it, but it's over too quickly. I think it's a very smooth ride. I've heard some complaints about it and the restraints, but I don't think either of those are an issue. I thought the first drop was good, and all of the inversions were punchy and fun, but it is an extremely short roller coaster, and if it were longer, I think it could be number 1. I understand that they were going for a smaller investment for a roller coaster, but this one is just a bit too short to be a truly fantastic roller coaster. Number 1 is Ride of Steel. This choice should shock very few. I think it's a very good hypercoaster, with its biggest issue being roughness. It's definitely a more painful hypercoaster than other ones, and that smooth experience you get with some of the grand hypers that can actually add a lot to them. But I love quite a bit about this ride. All of the airtime moments are great, the turns and even straight track over the water are quite nice, especially because of the setting. The first drop is excellent, and it's right around the same level of quality as the Six Flags America one. The restraints bothered me less on this one than that one. I mentioned before that I don't think the restraints are very good on that one. And overall, Ride of Steel is just definitely my favorite roller coaster at Darien Lake. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this ranking. I know it was a pretty short one, but there's really not a whole lot to say about each of the Darien Lake roller coasters. Subscribe for more theme park content. I'll see you next time.